So how do two different attorneys with two different firms from two very different backgrounds come together and make one of the fastest growing law firms in the state of Florida? That's today on the Pollinator podcast. So to start off, why don't y'all just tell us a little bit about yourselves and the firm and what y'all do?
So we are the owners of the Florida Probate and Family Law Firm, where we help families going through the toughest times of their life, death and divorce. We have 9 offices throughout the state of Florida, but we started off with our Coral Gables office, which is our main office. Half of our practice is probate law. The other half is family law. With the family law side, we do dissolution of marriage, paternity, prenups, postnups, any sort of family drama issues, adoption, domestic violence, all the stuff that we hope nobody has to go through, but we are here if they do go through it. And then on the probate side, Jose, you can take that away.
On the probate side, we handle, just normal probates, estates. We do estate planning as well and guardianship. So basically nuts to bolts on the probate and guardianship side.
I've known y'all for a lot longer than Shannon, but I've always appreciated the story because we've interviewed other couples where somebody had started the firm and then their spouse came in and joined them, but wasn't necessarily an attorney. But you both had your own firms and then joined forces to make this powerhouse conglomerate. So why don't you go back a little bit and tell us some about that story?
Not on that, Sam.
Not all at once.
I can take it.
You can go first, and then I'll tell them my part of the story because I'm sure we're going to have 2 different stories. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go first, and then Sam will tell her version. I think we both started out just for me I started out with a single practitioner in law school doing probate and guardianship. Around 2015, I went to go do something else. I went to go do commercial litigation, which is, I found out by going to do it, it was not my love, right? It was not my purpose. And then after that job, like right around the end of 2016, I started my own firm doing probate, guardianship, and estate planning, what I had been doing at that point for close to 6 years as a law clerk and then as an attorney. And then, Sam started her firm, and she'll talk about that a little bit, but right around 2018, I joined up forces with a friend of mine at the time, who was also a friend of Sam's. We started a firm doing a little bit of probate and guardianship on one side and estate planning, and then business and stuff on the other. So, the concept was, build your business, protect your legacy, kind of like a one-stop shop for people, entrepreneurs, family who had families as well. Eventually that kind of ran its course. My partner and I split up, and then I just continued with my firm until I think it was 2022, Sam, that we joined forces. We merged, and I brought over my, 200 and something odd cases to your firm, right? But I'll let Sam cover her firm and how that came to be.
So we're not going to differ in stories, I guess, after all. I started the firm about almost 7 years ago. September will be 7 years. I was working at a few other firms before I started this firm. I never thought I would have a firm. I was offered partnership at the last firm. It was not the right deal for me. And I did not know what to do. And my lovely husband, who was not my husband at the time, encouraged me to start the firm. And he told me, listen, if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. Just believe in yourself. And I was like, no, this is not, I don't know anything about business. Like, I don't know marketing. I don't know business. Like, I know how to bring in cases and I know how to work the cases. But other than that, I wouldn't know. And that year, my dad was also retiring after working for over 25 years for Florida's Natural. And my family was going to need my support once he retired because they couldn't financially do it on their own. And so there was that added pressure of my parents needing help. So I was just like, this is not the right time. Like, God forbid it doesn't work out. Like, yeah, I could go and work for somebody else or it is what it is. But what about my family, like my parents? But I ended up praying and listening to my husband. And I started the firm September of that year. And it just very quickly grew from there. I was able to add some team members. And then my husband and I eventually got married. And when we got married, we never talked about joining forces, but we got pregnant with our first child, our son, who's a little bit over 2 now. And it was really hard dealing with 2 separate firms. Like, we were both helping each other. Yeah. And so we realized, even though everyone told us, like, you guys do divorce law, this is a recipe for disaster. If it doesn't work out, this is not very smart. And we just both decided we're so different and we've got different strengths and weaknesses that we complement one another. And if we have open communication and we're able to basically communicate everything, that I think this can work. And so it was when I was pregnant with our son that we realized this is the right thing to do. And then we just started transferring files, and it's been the best decision we've made, in my opinion.
And Samah, were you doing any probate work before that?
So
okay.
From day one, 50% of the firm was probate and 50% of the firm was family law. So
Sam got into probate in law school.
Jose.
What's that? Oh, why?
Also because of you.
Oh, that's nice. Nice to hear. I didn't want to say it, but she got into it. I was like, I'm doing probate. It's a blast. It's very chill. It's very fun. The people are very nice. And back then it was a very small bar. And we still got together very regularly because back then, for the people that know about law, we had our motion calendar. Our version of motion calendar was something called ex parte. And you'd have 50 of the same people getting together every Tuesday and Thursday morning to just hang out, work the cases. It was very collegial atmosphere. And I told Sam, I'm like, this is great. This doesn't feel like law. This feels like very collaborative. Yes, there's litigation. Yeah, it gets aggressive and stuff like that. But it was still a very nice bar to be part of. And I told Sam, you should check it out. And she loved it too. We worked for the same judge at different times. We both worked for the same judge that ran the probate division, basically. And the rest is history, as they say.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I want to go back just a little bit further because I always want to hear the meet story. So how did the two of you actually meet and get together?
Sure. So we were in the same section in law school. And I eventually transferred out of that section. We started in the night program because we were both working. And then I eventually transferred to day, finished in 3 years. Jose finished in, I think, 1 semester afterwards. So you ended up doing it fast as well. But we met first week orientation of law school. So we were friends and we got to know each other and we were in the same study group and it worked out from there.
Yeah, Sam didn't want me to be in that study group. She's leaving a lot of details out.
Fill us in.
A lot of details.
Tell us how you really feel, honey.
Yeah. She didn't want me in the study group.
Listen, one of us really likes to study. One of us really like to have a good time in law school. And so, that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Law school, best time of my life. Had a blast.
I hated it.
Great time.
You mean after being married and then, father to children and all that stuff?
I said what I said. No, I don't know. Law school was a great time.
I'm glad.
It wasn't the best time, but it was a great time. I had a good time. We had really good friends. We were a very small community in the night school program, so everybody would get together. I feel like the statute of limitations has passed on this already. So after exams, we would go out to the 5th floor of the parking garage, and those of us that did drink would drink at that time. Obviously, Sam is not a drinker, but it was a family. It felt like a family back then. And it was a lot of fun. The most camaraderie I've had since being in high school. So it was a great time.
Has COVID or growth of that bar, has it changed at all, or is it still kind of?
Sam will probably agree with me, but it's really changed, and I think COVID was probably the last nail in the coffin. As time went on, starting in 2018, 2019, they really started shifting towards sending in the stuff you needed. There wasn't any motion calendar, any ex parte calendar anymore in the traditional sense, right? You would submit the orders that you wanted on the petitions that you had filed, and if it was uncontested, they'd get entered. So there was a lot less of that in-person bonding, growing together. Like that was the best place for networking, for finding new jobs, right? That changed, unfortunately, and then COVID finally just killed it because everything went remote. And I think that it's a net positive because it allows us to do our job more efficiently. We don't have to go to court as much, which saves the clients money. But that social aspect was also really affected, and that's the only sad part. Sometimes I miss the old probate, but I don't miss getting up at 6 a.m. to get there by 7 to make sure that I was in line to see a judge that day.
But it's also changed our practice, like completely. Sorry, I just wanted to add this in. We've been able to build our firm with the type of people we want culturally because we have moms, right? We have dads who are really involved in their family's life. So we don't have
one dad.
Well, I mean, we have people. No, we have more than one dad, Jose. You're forgetting our team members.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But we wanted to build something.
We have one daddy.
We wanted to build something where people didn't feel like they had to go into the office. We're just going to keep rolling with it. That people didn't have to go into the office every single day and feel like they were tied down in an office and they're not going to see their families all day. We've adjusted since having kids. I didn't understand it before I had kids. Now I primarily work from home. So does Jose. We're around our kids 24/7, right? And that's the culture and the environment and the firm that we wanted to build. So even though it's sad that we don't get to see, other attorneys in court every single day, I much rather prefer the way that we work now. Zoom is fine for court. We get to spend more time with our family and the people we love, and it's building something that I really enjoy.
I just want to say, Jose, I think Probate Daddy could be like a good TikTok handle for you.
Well,
Probate Zaddy.
You're not helping out here.
Did you think he would help though? I mean, come on. He's just going to instigate more.
I love it.
I was just trying to make it like pretend we didn't hear anything like that. You had to come back.
But I wanted to hit a little bit more. So you had mentioned that when you guys are having these conversations of coming together under one firm, you each have your own unique strengths. Tell me a little bit more about those conversations and how you kind of decided roles and who was going to do what and how y'all were going to set this up.
I think it was a lot of other people that we talked to were like, oh, you should merge firms. Like, it'd be great. Like, I remember we have a friend of ours that owns a very successful personal injury and criminal firm, but he also owns a marketing company, a legal marketing company up in the DMV, so like the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And he's like, you guys are crazy. You guys should just join up. And that was back in 2021. And I was like, no, I don't want to join up. And Sam's like, no, I don't know what her motivation for not wanting to join up was. I know what my motivation for not wanting to join up was. And I think it was a little ego driven. Like I liked having my firm. And then we had the fringe benefit of, hey, I had a very healthy presence on Google, for example, right? In the Google local type of thing, like the Google My Business or the Google Business Profile, whatever it was called back then. And Sam did as well. And back then it allowed us to show up in in the top 3 for most local searches. So we were really kind of cornering the market, and it really didn't matter, right? And I think that was part of also the practical reasons for not wanting to merge. But then this guy owns a marketing company. He's like, you guys are crazy. You guys would still just merge. You'll still dominate, So
I think to answer your question, Jose, I think that I was afraid that everything that everyone was telling me about working with your spouse would come true and that it would ruin our relationship, to be honest, because we are very different and we think very differently and we have different strengths. So to go back to your question, Shannon, we talk to our coaches. So we do a lot of different mastermind groups. We have a CEO, a fractional CEO that we work with. We've worked with many coaches in the past, and they basically, highlighted what our strengths and our weaknesses would be. And then we spoke many times and then decided Jose's super strong, for example, in IT. Jose's super strong in sales. Jose's super strong with estate planning. So those were things that just naturally we knew he would excel in and he enjoys. So that just kind of went his way. And then I'm a numbers girl. So I serve as like the CFO of the company. I also strategically like to pre-plan, how the marketing is going to go for the year. So our marketing plan. I also like to do a lot of the culture of the firm. So things like that. It just like naturally worked out where we're doing the things that we enjoy and we like, or even if we don't enjoy it, we're good at it.
What was that process like then when you've got these two separate entities? I mean, obviously the fact that you are doing the same practice area helped, but was it a shock to clients, or you started transferring cases and then eventually just wound one down and or over assumed its domain? How did that go?
Kids don't even know we're married.
Oh yeah, that was a surprise to some people. Well, Sam is one of those, listen, we're one of those modern marriages where the wife doesn't love the husband, so she kept her maiden name. It's fine. So they don't really know we're married. And really what it came down to was I just started sending my clients firm merger letters, like, hey, we're merging with this firm. If you're on board, hey, come on down. If not, you feel free to seek another attorney. Like we'll withdraw from the case. And for the most part, like I had been I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that even before we decided to merge, I had been putting so much work into helping Sam out with her firm. Out of, from the standpoint of just like helping my spouse, like, I saw like my firm was kind of percolating in the background, but like I saw what Sam was building and I wanted to make sure it would be bigger, right? So I was already involved. It was already a labor of love, and it just felt like the normal end of the course to just be like, listen, let's merge them, let's wind down my firm, and then let's continue building together, right? Felt nice.
So now, Samah, you're laying out these marketing plans, and y'all have expanded to 9 offices, and I think most recently was the Tampa office. Is that right?
No, our most recent office is Port Charlotte.
Oh wow! Holy smokes! So up in you're just like taking over South Florida from both coasts and moving up the state.
Yes. Our next office we're hoping is Orlando.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Come jump on that bright line. It's a pretty good ride. When we moved up here I was following her and her corporate sales job at the time. One of the things, and this was back in 2017, March of 2017, we moved up, and it was, the bright line supposed to start running in the fall of that year. And literally like 2 weeks after we got here, front page of the Orlando Sentinel, bright line delayed 2 years, and then it was another year, and then it was COVID, and then I think it's been like 2 years now that it's finally open. So 5 years later,
it's finally here.
But
I still haven't ridden it yet. He's gone quite a few times.
Me either.
It's great from what I hear. I mean, once you get out of South, I feel like the further south you are, the more chance there is that a car gets hit and you get delayed. But once you get out of like West Palm Beach, it's smooth sailing, because I feel like also the driving improves the further north you go for the most part.
That's fantastic.
And your office is in the Gables, where you're at right now, main headquarters?
Yes. Our first office.
Our second office, actually. Sam started her firm from a desk next to the one room I was renting from somebody else. So I started my firm in like a random little office, and then Sam rented a desk right outside that office, and she started her firm.
$600 a month. I remember the good old days.
Talk about $400 overhead on rent.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember those days.
That's fantastic. That's a great price.
Pretty good, pretty good. So now with all this expansion, next office in Orlando, how big is the team now?
We are almost at 40 team members.
Wow.
We just had a new family law attorney start Monday. We had lunch with her today because we like to do a lunch the first week when they're onboarding. She's been practicing for, I believe, a little over 12 years in family law. So she just started. We're looking for a probate litigation attorney to also join the team.
Yeah.
And then we have our paralegals, our legal assistants, our intake team, our salespeople, our marketing people. We have a solid team that we have to keep finding. People always tell us in our coaching programs and our peers, you're always hiring once you get to a certain level. And that's how I feel like we've been over the last couple of years. And I didn't think that when people were saying this, I don't know why I didn't think it would be us, but I feel like we're constantly hiring to add to the team, which is a great thing. But also with everything that's going on with the economy, I'm wondering if it's going to continue that way.
Well, I mean, the only certainties in life, you've got half of that covered, right? So, got a little tax practice and who knows. But congratulations on finding a family law associate because we've heard from some other folks and know some other folks that have been struggling for months. How big were your teams when you actually merged together, though? Or has most of that growth happened since?
Mine was super lean. I had a paralegal, offshore paralegal, and that's about it. My stuff was always very, very lean. All my work was word of mouth or like GMB stuff, Google My Business stuff. That was very easy to handle, right? Like it kind of, as long as the reviews were coming in, it kind of worked itself. But yeah, I think I had like full time
paralegal, an office manager.
Yeah, paralegal, office manager, but I think I was sharing the office manager.
Mm-hmm.
The paralegal, I was also, one of the paralegals was mine, the other one I was sharing. Very lean, very small, lean team, which I appreciated.
And to be honest, I don't remember, but if I had to guess, I think we were between 10 to 15 team members because our growth has been significant over the last 2 years. And we merged before the growth just kind of like went crazy. And the reason that the growth has also gone crazy is because our SEO has become stronger. Our networking has become stronger. Like we've put a huge effort into marketing. But I think we were 10 to 15. I had 2 associates at the time. One of those associates, I had acquired her firm and she stayed on with us. We had a couple paralegals. We had an office manager and we had an intake team. And Jose and I were doing all the consults.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So now that that's spread out, I'm interested to go back because Sammy, you mentioned before y'all merged the people kind of talking to you about everything that could go wrong working with your spouse and all these things. And so were those people that had worked with their spouse, or there's people who just didn't get along with their spouse to begin with?
What's funny? I'm not going to mention any names, but it's some family told us this too, and they've never worked with their spouse and they get along really well with them. But I don't think it came from a bad place. I just think that people think that working with your spouse is not going to work out. And then it's really hard to find in the legal world a husband and a wife who are both attorneys working at the same firm. I spoke to an attorney a couple days ago, and he was like, I felt like he was reluctant to say this, or he was like ashamed or embarrassed, but he's like, yeah, my wife recently joined the firm. And I was like, oh, as an attorney? He's like, yeah, but he was like very like soft-spoken about it. I was like, my husband and I work together. He's like, no way. And then I felt like the kind of like support that he was like, okay, I'm not the only one in this. And I was like, no, it's been great for us. Don't be scared. He's like, it's new and like, it's been really good. And I'm like, no, like you go in with the right mindset, you make it good. You don't set yourself up thinking that it's not going to work out. Like you do everything you can to make sure that it works out.
And now you have discovered the reason Shannon wanted to start this podcast was for her own mental support.
Well, yeah, because Will has been wanting me to join years, like with a capital S. And I was like, no,
Why?
this is, sorry, our dog just walked in. So
Because she doesn't love me either, Jose. It took my last name, but
listen, I honestly was scared that we would literally kill each other. Like we both can be very strong-willed, very stubborn, and also like I never had any desire to own or run a business. That was never my plan. Like when we also met in college, and he was like getting a degree in education, is going to be a teacher. And I was, at the time, I was pre-vet. The plan was like to go to vet school, and then I ended up getting a master's in nutrition. Like it was very like, get a degree, get a job, stability, safety, retirement fund, the whole thing. So this was terrifying. Like when he started this journey, I was like, what are you doing? Like this was not part of the conversation when we were talking about getting married.
yeah, because Sammy, you remember, or not long after, when we met in BNI, like, I quit, one of the most secure jobs out there at the time, at least in like 2010,
and then the very next month, I got pregnant. Yeah, I saw your face. Yeah, so he quits his job.
Yeah, but part of that though was, so we had actually been trying for 3 years, and so I was still a teacher, and it was eventually the opportunity came up, and she thought I was crazy to go and do this, but I'm going to do it, and sure enough, as soon as I was like completely severed from the school system, like cash out my retirement, roll it over, the next month. We got pregnant.
I got pregnant. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I was like freaking out. I was like, because we basically were on one income at that point because he was still just, it was still new. So it's been a very long sales cycle for me to finally agree to like do this. And yes, anybody I would tell that's like, oh, I work with my husband, and they're all like, oh my God, I could never. Like, it's always that response. I could never. Like, how are y'all still married? Yeah.
Same. Like, that's the exact same response. And, like, I relate to a lot of what you're saying because I said it earlier. Like, I don't have a business mindset. I never saw myself having a firm. I like stability because I didn't come from anything, right? Like, my parents immigrated to this country with very little. I still struggle with money mindset. I'm being completely honest. Like I went into the coaching stuff reluctantly because I was scared to spend the money on coaching, but it's been such a blessing to have that coaching because that's what's pushed me to continue investing and putting money in the right places to grow this company. I don't think that we would be where we're at if I didn't invest in that. But I completely feel everything you just said. Even like when we decided to start trying for children, I was even scared that would hold back like the growth of the firm. And it didn't. We grew, I think, the most that year than we've ever grown before. And I had to take 6 months off because I had an emergency C-section. So that to me was also a blessing because it also proved to me that everything I'm putting in my head, it doesn't work out that way. And I don't think that we would have been as successful as we have been today, thank God, if all of these things didn't work out the way that they did, if I didn't listen to Jose, if we weren't working together, we wouldn't also be able to spend the time with our kids. And that to me is like key. Like I didn't want to be a mom who was working and not, with her kids. Like that's important for me, not for everyone. And that's okay. But I just feel very blessed that it's worked out the way that it has.
Well, that was the biggest, the biggest sales point that I had in this whole thing because she was the President's Award winner, top in the nation, and the recognition.
Like I had a work phone and I had a personal phone, and my work phone, like to the point where like the kids knew they had different rings, and so they knew if the work phone rang, everybody needed to be quiet because mommy's got to handle this call. and it didn't, it could be all different hours of the day or whatever. And so that was the big thing was like, I want you to be able to not, to be able to go to the kids' activities and do these things with them and not.
She could be the room parent for the
Right.
PTA and stuff. And it also helped that after she won, they increased her quota by 40% and only gave her a 2.5 bump in in the base. So they're making you work more for less money, and you were the best. This doesn't make so much sense. And that finally, I'd been telling her that for a while too, but that was kind of finally the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. So no, I feel what you're saying as well as wanting to. I don't like to use the word balance because I don't ever think that truly exists. But recognizing like that family is important, and how do you make the job or the fit around that versus fitting your family around the job.
Correct. And then also something else that you pointed out, and maybe Jose, because I've been talking a lot, working with somebody who's just as hard-headed as I am. Like, we are different, but we are very determined people. And so like, we had to learn how to communicate in different ways, right?
Sure. Yeah. No,
Listen,
I don't.
Like we literally had a disagreement today. Like we had it out today. So it's like it happened.
Normal.
No, Sam's favorite thing to tell me is like, just talk. Like just talk. I'm like, no, I can't. Like sometimes I think when I get too focused on an issue, I have like an expression of expressing myself, like actually like putting words out, like trying to explain what's going on, because my brain is going a million miles an hour, and I don't know, I can't slow down enough to be like, the problem is X. This is what I think we should do. Like that, even that is too hard sometimes to get out, So Sam will sometimes just be like, listen, just talk, like please, and then I'll tell her what's going on. She's like, oh, okay. Like she thinks it's like something really massive, and I'm just like freaking out about something, and really it's something very mundane, right? So that's one of the things. And then in terms of being hard-headed, I mean, yeah, we're the ego thing. We're both attorneys. We both think we're right. One of us is usually right. That he has to pretend he's not right sometimes. So it happens. I get it.
We get it.
No comment.
Oh man. Oh goodness.
So like how does that translate into both, working together in the firm? You guys are overseeing a team. Yeah, what does that look like?
I think Sam is a lot more strategic than I am, just generally, and I'm a lot more tactical than she is generally. So attorneys will come to me, like other attorneys in the firm will come to me with specific case issues. Be like, what do you think I should do about X? What do you think we should do here? Sam is more focused on the big picture stuff for the firm, right? So, and I think that's been a good separation of powers, right? So we have a management meeting once a week, and sometimes the two people that will butt heads the most are me and Sam, because a lot of the rest of our management team sometimes feels a little bit intimidated going up against Sam and trying to being in disagreement with Sam. And sometimes it's up to me to be like, no, Sam, I think you're off base here, right? And I think that that's an important role to be played, because the rest of the team is sometimes maybe a little bit intimidated by Sam, like someone needs to get out an alternate viewpoint, right? And Sam's a very strong person. She's a very assertive person. That's part of the reason she's been so successful in life, right? And it's kind of hard to turn that off if she feels strongly about something. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's the way I look at it sometimes.
It's fair.
So I need to sometimes step into the line of fire. But disagreements at work have never translated into a disagreement at home yet that I can think of. Like, we've never had something that we've taken home from work be an issue at home, period. Like, that's not, I'm not just saying it.
Tell us more about that, because
how do
we cannot say
those?
that.
Yeah, we can't. Like I both think we take things to heart. I think we both feel very strongly about things, and we also work from home. Like, we don't have a separate office, so it's all here all the time.
Me and Sam, it took us a while to get married. We dated for a long time, and then we eventually got married. So we've been working in this, even if we're not working together in the same firm, we've been working in the same place for a while, and people told us that was going to be a disaster, and it wasn't. It actually helped our relationship because we got to spend more time with each other, and we got to learn each other's intricacies by spending more time with each other, which I think is super important. But I think we're helped by the fact that Sam is just overall a more mature person and will not let something at work affect us at home. And then we're also helped by the fact that I just don't really care about that much to begin with. Like, it's really, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I'm upset about this. And I'm like, okay, how far do I have to take this for it to be believable? Because a lot of times, like, most of the stuff that is made a big deal at work is not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things, right? I think sometimes Sam does that for me too. She's like, okay, yeah, this is a big deal. How do we deal with it? But really, she knows this is kind of like a waste of time. I can't believe we're talking about this. So we kind of humor each other there. But I just don't think that there's been nothing foundational in terms of a disagreement that we've had at work that has ever risen to that level of like an existential thing for the rest of our relationship. Maybe we've been lucky, But
I'm going to add to this. So he started a lot of why we are the way that we are is because our relationship was not an easy one. We come from different religious backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. And so it was very hard for us to get married, not by choice between us, but just outside factors, right? And so we had a long time to learn how we communicate and also learn each other's styles, right? And we didn't start off, even when we got married, we didn't start off with the firm merged, right? We still had our two separate firms. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then with the firm itself, we have such different styles. You can clearly see Jose's much more laid back about issues than I am. So something that I will see as a bigger deal, he will calm me down and be like, no, like, look, this is what we're going to do. Here's the game plan. This is how we're going to move forward. And I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And vice versa. If there's something blowing up and he's like, Sam, I'm really worried about X, Y, and Z, even though he's like not making it a big deal right now in front of you guys, I will provide a solution. And I think it just balances, even though I know you said you don't like that word. We balance each other out because we can think differently and we can come up with different solutions. We work together from home almost every single day, just like you guys. So we are in each other's space all the time. Two different parts of the house. And even when we shut down our laptops, even when we're in bed, TMI, we're still talking shop sometimes, most of the time. So do we shut it down all the time? No. Like, I'm being very direct with you guys. Like, we're always brainstorming. We're always talking about things, this issue, that issue. What should we do here? What should we do there? But I think that the difference is we actually enjoy talking about it. Like, we enjoy, it's not a burden.
In the head, actually, we'll go to dinner and talk about it. We'll go on vacation. We're going on vacation at the end of this week. We're going to talk about stuff for the firm. Like, we're going to be on the beach or hiking. We're going to talk about it because we're sick in the head, But it's a good sickness.
I don't think so.
But as long as you both, and we've talked with the other couples about this too. As long as you both are in agreement and you're both enjoying it and you're both wanting to do that, then I think it's okay. I think it's only if one person is like, no, we've got to shut it down, the other person is unwilling, then it causes a conflict. But if you both are like, yes, we're on the same page with this, then I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah, and we've had enough of these conversations now of, and, it's been interesting seeing people come from different backgrounds and different starting points too. Like, our primary care physicians are a husband and wife, and they got engaged in medical school and then just decided to get married and open up their primary care practice at the same time in the same year
as they were doing their residency.
Right. And so they're starting it all together. And I don't think that we would have been able to do that.
No.
I mean, we were
I don't think so either.
married almost 20 years. We're about to hit 23 years at the end of this month. 22 years at the end of this month.
He's just nodding. It's a good
The
thing.
anniversary is on the 23rd. That's where the
Yeah. No.
The anniversary is not on the 23rd.
It doesn't matter. That's
the engagement dinner was on the 23rd.
The anniversary is on the 24th because we got married in 2003.
Really?
It's okay. It's okay.
It's a leap year. Sometimes it falls on the 23rd.
Exactly.
It's not a
Thank
big deal.
you.
Moving on.
There was a 3 in there somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. There is a 3 in there, and it's even inscribed. I had it engraved on the inside of his wedding band specifically for this reason.
He's too busy wearing it, showing off he's married, to be able to be reading it. So
That's right. It rarely comes
But
off.
yeah, but I think for us, I think we both had to, do these things separately for us to both be able to grow, to be able to then come together.
And we had to go through a lot of marriage counseling too before.
Yeah.
That's just us.
That's just us. Yeah.
But that was it was a big trust thing to just move up to Orlando too. So that was back in 2017.
Yep. But so something that we always like to ask all the couples, because this podcast really is for those who are married who are doing this, to know that they're not alone, because this is such a small percentage of people that do this. But then also for those who are maybe thinking about doing this with their spouse. So based on your experience and kind of the journey that you guys have had, what advice would you give to another married couple that is thinking about going into business together?
A couple things come to mind. Definitely sitting down and mapping out a plan, because I'm a planner and I like putting things in writing and making sure that everything aligns, right? It's not just some idea out there that you came up with and you're like, let's see how this works out. I don't think that's the right way of doing it. I think actually having a plan. What are you making? I'm not looking at you. Are you making faces?
Because I'm laughing. I just went with the.
I was
a little bit, so I'm just wondering, what is the process?
Just try it. What's the worst that could happen? Try it out. That was literally what I was thinking. That was going to be my advice. Here you are saying the opposite.
And then I forgot the second thing, Jose. Thank you. What was the other? I know what it was now.
Never go to bed angry. Oh wait, you go first.
The other thing that I think has been super crucial and helpful for us is, and we haven't done this every quarter because we've been having babies, but every quarter taking some sort of trip or time alone to strategically plan on the personal side and the professional side, right? Yeah. I think even if it's a couple days, but just having alone time, I don't think that people spend the time necessary and, get busy with their children and then kind of forget their spouses. And I think that the only way to continue a strong relationship is to focus on your spouse and your children, but just have that time alone.
I'm going to go a little bit farther and say, in addition to everything Sam said about focusing on your spouse and your family, and being sure to, I guess, demarcate between the two, some time needs to be spent with yourself too. I think that some people need to be alone, especially for us, that we work together and we live together and we have kids together and we're married together, right? Having a little bit of alone time or alone with friends time. I know Sam goes to get massages. She does spa days with her friends. She goes to get her hair done. She gets nails done, all that stuff, all the stuff that's pleasurable to her. I do, I go get my hair. No, I don't get my hair done, but I probably should. But yeah, I'll go do other stuff. I'll go hang out with my friends. We'll go do dinner once every now and then. It's important to have, in addition to just couple time, which is super important, it's also important to have me time or you time, whatever you want to call it. But you know what I mean? I think that's really important. And then as much as Sam is a planner and she made a point of really laying out a game plan and stuff like that, boundaries and a path are super important. But I think sometimes you just kind of have to leap, make the leap. It's either going to work out or it's not. I know that sounds super tautological, but
just to plan for it to work out. You plan to make sure it works out. That's, yeah.
No, yeah, sure. But I also think for some people, no amount of planning will make it work out. right?
That's
You're
true.
you're never going to know unless you just try it. You know, some people cannot work together. They might be the perfect couple. They might be incredible together as a marital unit, right? But just working together, it will drive them insane, right? Because they need that separation at some level, or they just it's a different facet of their life that they need to exercise without having their partner there. I get it. Like for me, it hasn't been the case. I've been super lucky, right? But I'm never gonna. I guess I'm never gonna begrudge someone that can't make it work out because it's not for everybody.
And you just brought up another good point. You also have to evaluate if your spouse is also the right move for your company, right? Because it could also ruin culture and it could also complicate culture. So you also have to do that analysis to make sure that when you're adding somebody or you're starting off, that they're the right personality and the right fit to help you grow and to help, make the culture as positive as possible.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's a good
that could
point.
be
Yeah.
I can see that definitely being an issue for a more established company, right? And because at that point, is it you're partnering up or is it really just nepotism?
We've seen it work out. Like we have very good friends in Chicago that they run an immigration firm, right? And it was an established immigration firm, and the owner brought his wife on board, who's a nurse, right? She was a charge nurse, like she was in charge of like the shifts and all that stuff. Brought her in to do a whole bunch of stuff, and now she's doing basically quality control,
Marketing.
making sure everything's being done correctly, doing operational stuff, marketing, all that stuff, and it's been a huge positive, way net positive, right, for them. But we've seen the opposite, where someone gets brought into an existing firm and it throws everything for a loop. So it's super important. That's a really good point. You need to make sure that the spouse is a good fit and is not going to upset the apple cart. Is that the saying?
Something to that effect. Yeah.
I'm not a big Apple guy, but I'm sure that's what it is.
No, that is great advice. Fantastic. I appreciate you so much for coming on and chatting with us and sharing your journey.
That was really good. Thank you guys so much.